Our agenda this morning is the importance of preventative maintenance, a vehicle maintenance plan, the maintenance schedule, vehicle pre and post trip inspection, inspection points, and then questions. So I will turn it over to Justin to get this started.
Thank you, Lauren. Next slide, please. There you go. So preventive maintenance is the vehicle's lifeline. Without preventive maintenance, you don't know what's going on with your vehicle, and you could be at risk of your vehicle really getting a lot of internal things wrong with it if you are not getting preventive maintenance done on the vehicles. Uh, some of the benefits of preventive maintenance, improve the equipment and system and reliability, reduction of unexpected breakdowns, decrease in expensive part replacement, extended equipment life, improve the resale value of your vehicle. So if you're holding on to your vehicle for 80 to 110,000 miles, and you've been upkeeping the preventive maintenance on it, and it's in good condition, you're going to get a better resale value of it. So what do you do when your check engine light comes on? Well, most people just take it into the service station or dealership, and get it checked out. What I recommend is, next slide, please. If you don't have an OBD2 reader yet, go ahead and pick one up. Prior to taking your vehicle in for, the service station or the dealership to see, what is the check engine light on for, just go ahead and plug this in, and then it'll give you the readout code of what exactly is wrong with your vehicle. That way, you save yourself a trip, plus you save yourself a diagnostic cost. And these readers can be picked up, anywhere, any auto parts store. You get them from Amazon really cheap, Walmart, pretty much any place that sells auto parts usually has these in stock. So if you don't have one already, I do recommend getting one. Next slide, please. So preventive maintenance program, the PM is the key to a successful transportation program. Through preventive maintenance, vehicles are inspected, repaired, and maintained in such way that the problems with the vehicles are prevented from surfacing in the first place before a breakdown or accident can occur. So, by making sure you know what's the status of your vehicle at all times, by doing preventive maintenance, you're going to help prevent any unnecessary breakdowns. Next slide, please. So preventive maintenance, vehicles taken into the shop only when they need repairs is not preventive. It's reactionary. The problem with reactionary maintenance programs is they are based to fail. This type of maintenance program is destined to lead to downtime of your vehicles, resulting in cost and idle equipment. So if you stick with reactionary, you're guaranteed to have, even more issues down the road. Where on the other hand, next slide, please, preventive maintenance, bring your vehicles in for inspection and maintenance on a schedule that you set, and repair anything that is needing repair. You get your belts, hoses, everything checked out, before something does go wrong, and it costs you more money later. Note that federal regulations require following the OEM maintenance program on, at a minimum. Next slide, please. You should also have a vehicle maintenance plan set up. I know that's one of the requirements with the 5310 program. So if you don't have one set up, you'll need to get one set up. Establish a vehicle maintenance plan. This plan should cover the following: maintenance management, vehicle inspections, preventive maintenance, ADA accessibility equipment and maintenance, record keeping, and inventory control. Next slide, please. Ensure your drivers are properly trained on vehicle operations. Ensure your drivers clearly know the vehicle maintenance plan and schedule. Ensure your drivers know what to do if there is a maintenance issue. You know, if your vehicle breaks down or there's check engine light on, they should know what to do. Ensure you have a out of service tag for vehicles sitting waiting for a maintenance, and then make sure you're informing MAG, you know, that a vehicle is out for maintenance if it's going to be more than 24 hours. That way they have that documented. Ensure you notify MAG, like I said, you know, MAG or ADOT if you're taking a vehicle out of service for any extended period of time. Next slide, please. Review and understand manufacturer's recommended service maintenance schedules for each make and model of the vehicle. Know your vehicle's manufacturer warranty. Keeping your vehicles properly maintained will help prevent warranties from being voided. If you don't upkeep your vehicles, the manufacturer can void the warranty on the vehicle. Make sure you keep all service records. That'll help you with proof if there's a warranty dispute. Consider getting an extended warranty prior to the expiration of a manufacturer's warranty. Next slide, please. Setting maintenance schedule. You should know the mileage of all vehicles at all times. Know what services are coming due in accordance with the manufacturer's warranty. Know your fleet needs and requirements. Plan for vehicles to be out of service and keep to a plan to avoid vehicles going overdue. Communicate vehicles out of service status to all employees. This will help your employees, know, hey, I can't take this vehicle today. I have to take a different vehicle today. Contact other agencies if you may need to borrow a vehicle while your vehicles are being serviced. Next slide, please. Annual vehicle inspections. Annual vehicle inspections are mandatory for all 5310 grant vehicles. This inspection must be conducted by a qualified mechanic. Use annual inspection form provided by the City of Phoenix. If you have any questions, contact the City of Phoenix. The email address is on the screen. This information is specific for MAG region. For transportation programs under the ADOT, please contact ADOT for their forms or any questions for their vehicles. Next slide, please. Weekly inspections. It's recommended that all vehicles receive a weekly inspection by the fleet manager or whoever's in charge of your fleet program. And they should always know the condition and status of every vehicle. Visually inspect each vehicle for damage. Inspect all tires for damage and tread safety. Inspect vehicle operating systems. Inspect vehicle safety equipment. Make sure registration and insurance are both current. Next slide, please. Vehicle pre and post-trip inspections. These are mandatory as well. You want to make sure that your drivers are conducting the pre and post-trip inspections daily. If you do get a visit from MAG, they will let you know that they'll need to see your pre and post-trip inspections for a certain period of time, and you'll need to send them to them. The fleet manager should train each driver on performing the vehicle pre and post-trip inspections. The fleet manager should also spot check each driver performs these inspections to ensure consistency in maintenance procedures. Yeah, don't just let your drivers pencil whip the forms. Make sure they're actually conducting it and they are trained properly on how to conduct the pre and post-trip inspection. Next slide, please. These are just examples of what the pre and post-trip inspection checklist looks like. So the pre-trip inspection, make sure you're getting a VIN number in there, the driver's name, the starting miles, and then the ending miles. Next slide, please. If there's any body damage to the vehicle, go ahead and list it. If there's any defects found doing the inspection, make sure they're writing that down. That way, whoever oversees the maintenance of the vehicles knows what was indicated. Next slide, please. And then your post-trip inspection, same thing. The VIN number, driver's name, the ending miles. If there's anything wrong with the vehicle, they need to go ahead and put an X in the box. Next slide, please. And then again, if there's any body damage noted, give a description of the damage, and then any deficiencies or defects found, go ahead and list them down, and then turn it into your service manager or fleet manager, whoever is in charge of vehicles, so they can review it and sign it off. Next slide, please. Next, we're going to go over inspection points. Tires have seven point inspection. So you want to make sure you're checking your tire pressure with a calibrated gauge and set the inflation pressure using the inflation calculator as a guide. Check tire sidewalls for cracks, cuts, or any damage. Check tire threads and consider replacing if there is less than 20% left on your tread gauge or your tread gauge is 6/32 or lower. And if you don't know what your pressure, your PSI for your tires should be, if you open up the driver door panel, there is a sticker inside the driver panel door that'll show you exactly what your PSI should be for both your front tires and your rear tires. And for some reason that's damaged, you can also find it in the service book that comes with the vehicle. Next slide, please. Also check for tire tread areas for stubble damage and exposed cords, and replace tires if you see any obvious signs of damage. Check ground contact area to make sure that there is no gap between the lugs and the ground. Check valve stems for cracks, corrosion, and debris. A good way to check your valve stems is just get some soapy water. Put soapy water on the valve stems. It'll bubble up if there's cracks in there and air is escaping. Check all nuts and bolts to ensure they are tightened properly. Next slide, please. If you don't have a tire tread gauge, you can also use a penny. So the little penny trick, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, the threads are worn and need to be replaced. Tread wear patterns you want to look for. If you see looks like the wobble tire, you might have an alignment issue. Get a check for alignment. If you see the skip mark, it could be out of balance. If you see the balding in the center of the tire or the outer rims of the tire, definitely an inflation issue. And then worn out suspension will show what looks like skid marks on the tire. Next slide, please. Next, brake inspection tips. So spongy brake pedals. Does your vehicle have spongy brake pedal recently? If this is the case, it's most likely time to do a brake fluid flush. The spongy brake pedal comes from air bubbles presented in the braking system. With bubbles, the brake fluid cannot properly maximize pressure to the brakes, reducing braking capabilities. Brake fluid flushes should be done according to the manufacturer's recommended intervals. However, if there's no service history for the vehicle, just go ahead and get it done. That way you save peace of mind and know that your brakes are going to be operating properly. Next slide, please. Low brake fluid, if the brake fluid flush has been done recently, check the brake fluid reservoir and ensure the fluid is at the maximum or full line. Never overfill, so make sure that you just go to the full line and not over. If there is a brake fluid missing, it is normal to just top it off, but you make sure you get the car's manufacturer recommended brake fluid specifications, either .3, 4, or 5. Check to make sure you're putting the correct one in your vehicle. Make sure to use only brake fluid from a sealed, unopened bottle. If you try to put brake fluid in from a bottle that's been sitting on the shelf for a couple of years, more than likely moisture has found its way into that bottle. and you're going to have issues. Next slide, please. If you hear squealing or grinding coming from your brakes, it's time to get them checked out and changed. Next slide, please. Leak detection. Check under vehicle and look for any signs of fluid leaks. Leaking fluids can be extremely dangerous. Oil leaks can cause engine failure. Brake fluid leaks can cause brake failure. Transmission fluid can cause transmission failure. Coolant leaks can cause your vehicle to overheat. Fuel leaks can cause you to run out of gas faster, or even cause your vehicle to explode if it hits a spark. Next slide, please. You want to check under the hood, check your fluid levels, check your battery. Make sure your battery, charge is fully charged. In Arizona, batteries last on an average of 24 months. So it's a good idea to make sure you're keeping track of when your batteries are installed. And if it comes close to 24 months, you're making a plan to get that battery replaced. Check air filters both in under the hood and internal air filters for the cabin. The cabin air filters help keep the air clean inside. So start engine, listen for any abnormal sounds. Do a smell check. If you smell anything that smells like burning coming from the engine or under the hood, you want to make sure to get that checked out. Check belts and hoses for any cracks or breaks or any loose nuts and bolts in there. Next slide, please. Mirrors. Make sure mirrors are clean and free of damage. Make sure mirrors are operational, and make sure your drivers know how to use the mirrors. Not all mirrors work the same way. There are mechanical mirrors. There are mirrors that you have to adjust yourself. So whatever your mirrors are, however your mirrors are adjusted, make sure your drivers know how to properly adjust them. Next slide, please. Gas caps. It's recommended to have a locking gas cap. I know as soon as gas prices went up to close to $5, there were reports of gas being siphoned out all the time. So save your company some money by getting a locking gas cap on there to prevent siphoning or tampering with gas tanks. Next slide, please. If you don't already have catalytic converters catalytic converter locks or cages on your catalytic converters, it is definitely recommended. These cat cages are covered by the 5310 preventive maintenance funds. So if you have the funds, this will be covered by them. But I do highly recommend, with as high as the catalytic converter theft is here, that everybody should have these on their vehicles. Next slide, please. Next is lights. Make sure you're checking your headlights, make sure they're working properly. You will check both high beams and low beams. Brake lights, make sure brake lights are operational. Now, if you have the big buses, make sure your lower and upper brake lights are working properly. Turn signals, make sure all 4 turn signals, and if you have the signals in the mirrors, also make sure they're operational. Make sure your hazards are operating properly, and make sure your drivers know where to find and turn on and turn off the hazards. Next slide, please. Windows and windshield. Ensure all windows that are open are operational and free of cracks and seals, and the seals are good to prevent leaks. Ensure windshield is free of cracks and you can see out clearly. Make sure windshield wipers are in good condition and are functioning properly. If you have a chip in your windshield, like Safelite or any of the window companies can come out and fill those chips. but make sure you get the chips filled, within 2 weeks of it happening. That way it doesn't splinter and start to spider web out. If you have a crack larger than an inch, it's recommended that you go ahead and get your windshield replaced, because anything larger than an inch is going to start to splinter and spider out. So make sure you're keeping your windshield, in the best condition as possible, because that's how you see everything in front of you. Next slide, please. AC and heating. Don't wait until you need to use the AC or heat to find out there's something wrong with it. The vehicle's AC should be checked, when you're doing the pre and post trip inspection checklist. That's on there. Make sure your people are checking it. So you want to make sure that your Freon is charged prior to March 1st for your AC, and make sure your heat is checked and repaired if need to be by October 1st. Next slide, please. Inspection points. Step tread and flooring. Make sure all of your non-slip tread on your steps are secure. Replace if they look worn or unsafe. Make sure running boards are secured and in good condition. A loose running board can be extremely dangerous. You get someone on there and that board collapses and they fall back, that's a liability issue. So make sure that you're always checking the lug nuts on there that hold the board in place to make sure that they're tight, and do an actual test, 1 foot on, 1 foot off, to make sure there's no wobble on the boards. Interior flooring, check to make sure flooring is level and in good condition. Look for dips, bulges, holes, and separation in the flooring. And God forbid, never take a hose inside of your vehicles to clean them. You're just asking for issues. I mean, I had, an agency out there that told me that they clean their vehicles by hosing it down inside. Well, that's going to cause the boards under the flooring to bevel, dip, and separate. So never, ever, ever take a hose inside your vehicle. You're just asking for issues. Next slide, please. Next is wheelchair ramps. Make sure wheelchair ramps fold and unfold properly. If a ramp is electric, be sure to have an annual inspection completed by a certified technician. Next slide, please. Wheelchair lift systems. Inspect lift system for proper operation daily. In addition to regular inspections, lubrications and maintenance procedures should be performed at 750 cycle intervals. An annual inspection is required by a qualified technician for all MAG grant vehicles. Next slide, please. This here is a copy of the annual vehicle inspection that is mandatory for MAG. So if you look at this form, it has all the basic safety items on there for the vehicles. Make sure this is filled out properly. When they fill it out, make sure that whoever the technician is that fills it out, marks it pass or fail. Make sure they're putting their initials in there. Make sure the license plate number is correct. Make sure the VIN number is correct. Make sure the manufacturer, make, model, and year is correct. So make sure that all that information is correct before you accept it from that technician. And then, at the top, check off annual inspection. So it is imperative. And if you look down towards the bottom right-hand corner, there is a section down there for the lift inspection. So if that same inspector is able to do the lift inspection on there, have them document the lift inspection on there. If they are not, then wherever you take it for your lift inspection, make sure your lift inspection form is turned in, as well as the annual inspection form. Next slide, please. So some safety equipment. So your fire extinguishers, make sure it's inspected annually and monthly. Now, what I mean by annually and monthly, so you need a annual certified inspection, and then monthly is whoever is doing the monthly checks on your vehicle safety equipment, make sure that on the tag that they're signing off the monthly inspection on it. Seatbelts, make sure they are properly inspected daily for proper operation. Make sure whoever's inspecting this, they're actually doing the click and release for every single seatbelt. Not just checking one and then okay, seatbelts are good. Make sure every single seatbelt works. Wheelchair tie-downs, inspect daily for proper operation. The first aid kits, check daily, inspect monthly. Bloodborne pathogen kits and check daily, inspect monthly. Roadside triangles, check daily, inspect monthly. Your flashlights, check daily for proper operation. Emergency exits, inspect daily. Make sure audible alarm can be heard when the vehicle is shifted into reverse. If a vehicle has a backup camera, check to make sure the backup camera is operational and operating properly. Next slide, please. Preventive maintenance, all maintenance costs related to vehicles and including all activities, supplies, materials, labor, services, and associated costs required to preserve the extended and preserve or extend the functionality and serviceability of the vehicle is in a cost-effective manner. So preventive maintenance funds, like I hit on earlier, can be used to make sure your vehicle is running properly, operationally, and functionally. Next slide, please. Preventive maintenance examples, oil change, new tire rotations and tires, alignment, shock struts, all your fluids. If you need a tune-up on a vehicle, that's covered. Your brakes, all your safety equipment, your vehicle functionality, lights, mirrors, gauges, etc. Cat clamps or cat cages, wiper blades, locking gas caps, battery replacement, air filters, and your annual inspections are all covered under preventive maintenance funds. Next slide, please. And then non-PM examples. MAG's not going to cover for your vehicle to get wrapped. They're not going to, reimburse you for repainting just because you want to change the color from white to purple. Companies' logos. They're not going to, reimburse you, for a logo that, advertises your company. Air fresheners, booster seats. And of course, they're not going to reimburse you for fuel. I mean, that's up to your organization. With that, we'll open up for questions. If anybody has any questions, comments, feel free to speak up and we'll handle each and every one.
We don't have any questions in the chat box, but I will invite anyone to unmute and ask questions or give Justin any comments.
I have a question, Santiago Cornejo, City of Tolleson.
Santiago, did you have a question for Justin?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know when the forms will be sent out for the 5310 grant? All the updated forms to submit all the reports that are needed?
That would be a question for City of Phoenix. So go ahead and email the section 5310 email for City of Phoenix. I will go ahead and put that in the chat box for everyone.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
And there's a question in the chat. What are the most common failures during the 5310 compliance inspection?
So some of the biggest things that people overlook is making sure that their Title VI information is posted in the vehicle, and that their condition of their tires are in good operational condition. Those are the two biggest ones that I heard a lot of repeats on. But yeah, the Title VI posting is one of the biggest ones, you know, in the vehicles.
Thanks, Justin. I did go ahead and put that email for the City of Phoenix in the chat box. Any other questions?
And all vehicles must have the safety equipment inside the vehicles. If there are pieces missing from, say, your roadside triangle kit, just make sure that before you get an inspection, that you get a new kit installed and in place. So a lot of people will tend to, oh yeah, the box is there for the roadside triangles, but they don't actually look in and see, make sure that all the pieces are there. So
Thanks for that, Justin. That's really helpful to remind everyone to make sure that everything is in the vehicle before they check everything. Any other questions for Justin? All right, since we don't have any other questions, we can go ahead and end this workshop. If you would like a certificate of attendance, please send me an email and I will get that over to you. The slides and the recording will be posted on the MAG website next week. And have a good day. We'll give you some of your day back. Thanks again, Justin.
thank you.
Thank you all.